All right. Well, let's move on to our next discussion. So we got.
Look at
Oh
this.
yeah,
I can play Destiny right now on my
yeah,
phone.
dude.
Wow, nice.
It's nuts, man. It's
My phone
nuts.
cannot do that.
So recently, speaking of PCs, we've had the 3080 and the 3090 release. So Nvidia has released their new GPUs, and they're pretty much wrecking the old 20 series cards. Apologies to AMP. And the performance difference between the 2080 Ti and the 3080 is about a 30% improvement on average in terms of ending games with RTX or ray tracing plus DLSS, which is deep learning super sampling. It's like at a basic upres kind of feature, similar to like checkerboard rendering that you'll see on like PlayStation. The 3080 is seeing almost the double the performance, 2 times the performance of a 2080 with those features enabled. And then on top of that, the 3090 is also 15% faster in gaming and has double the VRAM, but is also $800 more than a $700 3080. So do you plan on getting a 3080, 3070? Why or why not? And who do you think this 3090 card is for?
I'll let Amp talk. He talk it all yet.
Yeah,
Hey,
yeah.
go on, Amp. Go on, Amp.
Tell us your story, man.
I might. I don't know. I don't know if I want to, because I just spent a whole lot of money.
So what? So for those of you all don't know, Amp recently bought a 2080 Ti. Poor soul. Poor soul.
Not recent. Well, a couple months.
Couple
ago.
months
It's not
ago.
recent.
But so what brought you to do the upgrade for the GPU?
Because I needed a new PC. So it wasn't just a GPU. I bought a brand
Yeah,
new.
so that's fair.
Yeah.
I think that's fine. The only the only reason I would suggest to get a 20 series is because you either don't have like a gaming card that you can play on, or you're like the one that you did have like crapped out. So you need something. Because the 20 series had that the whatever they call it. There was an increase in price because it was the first generation of the ray tracing cards, so they added an additional cost over what the average price is for those cards. And so with the 30 series, it's now back down to what the price is usually for a new release. So what about you, Bill? Do you think you're going to be getting a 30 series card?
I'm actually the kind of person when something brand new comes out, I tend to buy a new version of what it is replacing, simply because most of the time that stuff is cheaper and it generally performs the same for what I do. Now, that being said, the 3080 and 3090 are for the higher end gamer who want super high-res graphics, super performance all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I am not that person. I mean, I could see myself buying like a 3070 because I don't feel the need to stream in 4K, and that's totally fine. For me, I mean, if I can get 60 frames per second at a 1080, totally fine. I'm totally fine with that. I have friends who are really, when it comes to graphics, are extremely snobby and they want the high-end stuff. Then that's for you. I'm not that kind I'm not that person. I am not that person. And
I don't know what you're talking about, man.
I'm just saying that you know, and perhaps it's my age and experience with things, but whenever something brand new comes out that's all shiny and neat and everyone loves it, there's bugs. The price you pay to have it before everybody else is rarely worth the cost. So I cannot see myself spending $1,500 on a graphics card, regardless of how it performs. Now, if I was 28 instead of 48, oh, dude, I'd probably be all over that. Like, hey, give me the 1,500. I'm buying it right now.
Well, especially if you're not like married with kids or something.
Exactly. Yeah. If I don't have to, like if I had a mortgage and student loan payments and I have to fix my roof, things like that. But
time to nut up or shut up.
I mean, I could see myself probably saving up and spending, $750, $800 on a 3070, just because from what you stated for those numbers, I actually thought about, like, yeah, that's a huge difference in performance. Massive. I could see myself doing it. Probably have to make some concessions to my wife if I spent that kind of money on a graphics card.
The 3070 is $500. And it's gonna
Still.
be there's no like actual like benchmarks for it. My assumption is that it's going to be, they say that it's the same, equal in power or maybe a little bit faster than a 2080 Ti, but my guess is that like I stated, where like with RTX and DLSS, the 3080 is seeing almost double the performance of a 2080. My guess is that that's only true if you're using RTX and DLSS. Otherwise, in a normal rasterized game, it's going to be a little bit slower.
I thought it was the Super that they said that.
They said the 2080 Ti.
Okay,
sorry, man. But the Super is, yeah.
So that being said, yes, I mean, if you're a graphics snob, more power to you. That's great. That's part of what makes gaming awesome. Is that some people love their graphics, some people like the connectivity. I'm just not the kind of person that needs to lay down $800, $1,000 for a graphics card. I mean, I could see spending, $1,700 on a new setup for, a new tower monitor, things like that. But for me, spending $800 on a graphics card probably would not work, especially when it comes to my wife.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. So my last 3 graphics cards that I had was a 780 Ti, a 980 Ti, and a 1080 Ti. And so those were all around the same price of about $700. So the 3080 is technically it's in that Ti tier performance, because it is faster than the previous generation 2080 Ti, but it's at the normal price range where it usually is, because we're not paying that extra premium for the ray tracing technology that you did in the 20 series. Sorry, Amp.
See, I got ray tracing.
I got ray tracing.
The ray tracing is not going to be used in games for a good another 2 years, maybe.
Well, no, there's more. Fortnite's got it, man.
There are games that are using it now, but until it becomes more commonplace, like for me, I'm using a 980 Ti, which is comparable to a 1080. 1080 Ti and higher are the only things that beat out a 980 Ti. I have no need to upgrade. When I do upgrade, I'm probably going to take my brother's 2070 because it also has ray tracing. Why not?
Yeah. And then the for streaming, the encoder on the new 30 series is the same encoder as it was for the 20 series. So there wouldn't be any advantage in terms of the NVENC stuff.
Some of the people I know who got them, or the reason I know they got them is because they do a lot of editing, like video editing, music editing, and stuff like that. People who have to render videos and stuff like that, it's a huge investment and it's well worth your time to do it, because your production speed is going to double, if not triple. Because if you're sitting there on a 1 minute render to go on, you're there for about maybe 8 hours on a good card. Now with these new cards, you're cutting that down to maybe an hour to even 50 minutes on a 1 minute render.
It's actually pretty faster than that, because I've rendered a couple. Because I didn't even know about the rendering for like Vegas Pro or whatever, and then I switched to that, and it was like that.
Yeah, I can do on my 1080 Ti, I can do a 20-minute video in like 15 minutes at 1080p.
Yeah, see, I do. So the clips that I do for Twitter, that about a minute to minute and a half, if I do it in 4K on my 1070, takes a little over 3.5 minutes.
I don't do any kind of rendering at all, and so I have no need for it.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So that kind of leads into the other question is, who do you think the 3090 is for? And it's for these people that are trying to do rendering and stuff. They need that extra VRAM, especially when you're trying to scrub through like 4K footage. It helps to have that extra stuff. Yeah. But the thing is that there's a rumored, basically confirmed version of the 3080 that's going to have 20 gigs of VRAM as opposed to 24. So we'll see how much that's going to cost.
It might be like I brought this up before we started streaming, but my 980 Ti, I've seen people listing it in around $800 to $700 right now for a card that's really outdated compared to our current cards we got.
Mm-hmm.
But still, like gaming wise, you want a good mid tier graphics card, 980 Ti all the way. But you can't get them anymore because they don't make them anymore.
Yeah, so you should buy a 1070. Same thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I literally could just go sell this right now and get a 3070 actually.
Yeah. So it's been reported that a lot of 3080s from third-party board manufacturers, so like EVGA, Gigabyte, or Asus, have an insufficient configuration in terms of their capacitors, and they can't handle the power requirement of the cards, which has caused a lot of crashing in games. EVGA has issued a statement that their FTW, or For the Win 3 series of these cards were pre-production models, and the issue should be fixed for release. But a lot of customers buying other models from like other manufacturers and stuff have seen these types of issues arise. So
I don't have those problems.
Yeah. Well, this goes into what Bill is saying about like waiting and then like buying the previous generation, because the stuff that you're going to get has already been well tested and they've already worked out all the bugs.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm not an overkill PC user. I get what I need.
Yeah, I usually, I think, wait about, I don't know, like 6 months before getting the new hardware.
Depends on what my current. I think it depends on the current gear you got.
Yeah, or at least just wait until you don't hear any more reports of there being issues. Essentially.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah. But yeah, so do you typically buy new hardware at release? And does this kind of info make you wary of purchasing one of the new consoles, hypothetically speaking, if you're not already planning on buying one? Would it make you wary?
For sure.
I'm getting a console before I buy another graphics card.
Yeah.
I'm actually I'm about to drop $600 on getting a new PC. Not new PC, but getting new stuff for my PC to rebuild it. And my brother is saving money to just immediately buy a PS5 the second he's able to.
So so keep in mind that the argument before the 3000 series came out was that the new Xbox and the PS5 were gonna make the gaming experience the same as on PC. So just
well, it is like 2080 levels of performance for $500,
right?
Which is
so that
pretty
being
good.
said. That being said, if I was ever going to buy a console, it would not bother me to buy the new console, because technically it's all the same guts and inner workings as a PC, but in a console, and it's not as fast as a PC. It doesn't perform the same way, but it doesn't have the same drag on the resources that a PC has, because there are lots of background processes that are going on regardless of what you're doing on your PC. That load, that processing power load isn't the same on a console. So it would not bother me to buy a new console.
Well, so the issue that you might run into though is, which has happened with previous console releases, is that the first batch of consoles that go out have like faults in them. So they're like gonna die or crash or something. So would you prefer to like get it day one, or would you wait a couple months and then pick it up?
Well, I'm actually happy that they sold out.
All pre-orders are sold out, so you also got to consider I think this.
I mean, there's still gonna be people that can like go into a store and pick one up.
Yeah. But my thinking on this is like, okay, so they sold out already. Now they're going to be pushing out to get even more made. I think that quality of that second wave of manufacturing is going to be much lower than what even the first grade is.
Yeah, I think Denzer has a correct answer. I wouldn't buy one, be a man, and play PC. Okay, thanks.
I would, but there are plenty of PlayStation games I want to actually play. Ghost of Tsushima. I've been wanting to play that, and I'm so mad I can't.
I actually saw there's an emulator for PS3 games that like they've unlocked the resolution so you can play at 4K, and it even gives you like improved performance and stuff. So might
You got a
be
link to
something.
that?
I do actually somewhere.
I
I
will
might send
definitely
that to
try
you.
it out. I recently got me a PlayStation 2 emulator so I can play Star Wars Bounty Hunter.
Oh, very nice.
Ooh,
Yeah, so
nice.
they were playing like
Nice.
God of War 3 at 4K at like 60 FPS. Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
I bet
Yeah.
it look. I bet it looked
It
like
looks
crap.
nuts. Not, I mean, obviously they don't have like all the bells and whistles of the new one, but
Is it upscaling it, or is it actually just rendering
no,
it?
it's literally rendering it at that resolution.
That's actually pretty cool.
Yeah,
It's a good emulator.
yeah.